Hello and welcome to the 40th season of football. Friday night, I'm Nate Wimberly, joined by Brendan Hamilton. A huge show on tap tonight as 8 of our 11 games have conference championship implications.
Yeah, some of those battles include our game of the week, Bunker Hill at Maiden, and then you got also Burns at East Gaston, Forest Hills at West Stanley, Mallard Creek at Huff, and south of the border, Great Falls at Louisville.
Yeah, we start tonight with Catholic at Butler. Winner takes over sole possession of first place in the Southwestern 4A. And happy birthday to Butler head coach Brian Hills. No better gift that his team can give him than a victory over Catholic, but the Cougars crashed the party early in this one. Cougars first drive, Sean Boyle to Jacob Deller. And this is an easy 62-yard touchdown, 6-0 Catholic. Next Cougars drive, they make it a long time-consuming drive. Griffin Sovine with the lion's share of carries on this drive, and he would get the tough touchdown run here. For the most part, Catholic dominated this game as they took a 19-0 lead into the fourth quarter. But let me back up for a second. At the half, Butler brought back and celebrated the 2010 state championship team. And this current team took some of that 2010 magic and applied it in the fourth quarter. This run by DJ Horton just lets you know that Butler has heart. The Bulldogs scored 20 unanswered points, including the game winner with 2:09 to play. Butler won a crazy game tonight, folks, 20-19.
Yeah, that is a crazy game. All right, we're going to Forest Hills. The Yellow Jackets at West Stanley, the Colts. All right, West Stanley taking the field, and they will have it first. Here's quarterback Jet Thomas, who'll hit Matthew Parker. Here's a nice pass. Can he go? He's down to the 50, the 30. You got to
nice
stay in bounds. That's down to the 35. They can't score. All right, Forest Hills quarterback Amir Stafford. Here's Jarrell Boulder. He is off to the races. Can he get down the sideline? Yes, he can. No one is going to touch him. He's in there taking it to the house. That is a touchdown, 7-0. All right, second quarter, Forest Hills quarterback. Here's Stafford again. Ross Smith. Nice pass, young fella. That is a touchdown, 14-0. West Stanley coming right back. Here's Matthew Parker with the catch. He's wide open.
He's wide open.
Colts draw this one 14-7. All right, Forest Hills. It's going to be a nice run here. Here's a handoff to number 8. Can he cuts right? He goes down back towards the middle. He'll rumble in the end zone. Young fella, that's 21-7. Final score, all Forest Hills. They will win this one 35-14.
Charlotte Christian at Providence Day. Providence Day grad and current Carolina Panther Ike Ekwonu, the guest coin tosser for this one. His alma mater wasted no time finding the end zone. Jaden Davis to Jaden Holler on the crossing route. The game's first touchdown, 6-0 Providence Day. Next drive for the Chargers. They're on the goal line to fake handoff for some misdirection, and Davis has a wide open Jordan Ship. 13-0 Chargers. Ekwonu enjoying this action right here. Late first quarter, 4th and 5. Chargers go for it. Davis to Channing Goodwin in the end zone. 20-0 Providence Day, but Charlotte Christian will come back in another crazy game as they won this one 38-37 as they got the game-winning 47-yard field goal at the buzzer. What a crazy night already. Woo. Time to take our first break here on Football Friday Night. When we come back, highlights of the FFN Game of the Week, Bunker Hill at Meck. Welcome back in the Catawba Valley Conference. Bunker Hill and Maiden started the day tied for first at 4-0 in conference play.
Yeah, that changed tonight as the two met at Thomas Brown Stadium in the football Friday night game of the week. Cam Gaskins was at this one and has the highlights.
Now, guys, I know we billed this one as our game of the week, but this one had game of the year written all over it. Let's get straight to these highlights. The Maiden Blue Devils hosting the Bunker Hill Bears tonight. Maiden hasn't lost to Bunker Hill since 1989, trying to keep that streak alive tonight. This one tight in the second quarter. Maiden up 1, make it 8. Chris Culver dives into the end zone. That score makes it a 21-13 game. Blue Devils trying to add on with their next drive, but a tipped pass at the line. Picked off by Caden Bollick. He takes it all the way back to the house, untouched for the pick 6. Bears down 21-19 after the failed 2-point try. Now it's time for Maiden to answer right back, though. Ben Gibbs was a force on the ground in this one. He'll find the end zone, making it a 28-19 game with a few minutes left until halftime, and it was more than enough time for Bunker Hill to march down and score in the final minute here. Jason Willis bounces off a tackle, finds his way into the end zone. Suddenly a 28-26 game at the half. The Bears feeling the upset. Next score comes at the end of the third quarter. It's a big one. Reddick Robinson rolls, finds Jalen Willis for the go-ahead score, and the Bears are feeling it, shocking the home crowd, but Maiden would have a final chance to win this game. Less than a minute to go. Chris Culver, the dagger, that would do it. Maiden survives, and they keep the streak alive. Let's check out the football Friday night scoreboard in this one. A 36-33 final score out in Maiden. And now the Blue Devils are in the driver's seat. 2 games left to play in the conference. What a heartbreaking way for Bunker Hill. They had it in the final minute, and they had a chance actually to ice the game if they could have gotten a first down, but they weren't able to do so. Gave Maiden the ball back with 1:40 left. And that offense is really tough to stop if you give them a chance to go down with nothing to lose. And they shocked him. Just an absolute heartbreaker, though. You could tell the boys were feeling it. They were sniffing that upset. And then they just went away at the last second. That's football for you, man.
I mean, and then that 140 to go down the field.
Yep. Yeah, there was a play we couldn't show because of time, but there was a running back pass, actually, that went all the way down to, I believe, the 30-yard line, and that was really the catalyst of that drive. And from there, they were just able to get the yards they needed to. But just an incredible play. I mean, Maiden, hard to see either of those teams having a whole lot of competition in 2A, but Maiden at this point, I mean, what more can you say? They're in the driver's seat. They're the cream of the crop at this point.
Pump your brakes down, man. Pump your brakes. That's plenty of good 2A teams. You know, Burns would say, hey, hold my beer for that one. Hold my drink. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, yeah, these are high school kids now. They're not
hold
drinking.
My drink.
Hold on.
But Burns, Shelby, out in Union County, you got Forest Hills, Monroe. There's the 2A is going to be packed, just like every classification, you know, 2A, 3A, 4A. But there's a lot of, but to your point, Maiden kind of quietly has had a great year. They lost one early, and everybody kind of forgot about Maiden. But Maiden is still around, and this Bunker Hill team, they're not going to go away. They're going to be better because of this. They'll be better because of this loss tonight. We have reached halftime here on Football Friday Night. Still more to come, including these 4 games with conference championship implications. To catch the second half of the show, you know what to do. Jump over to WBTV.com/live and these streaming platforms. We will see you in a few minutes for the exciting conclusion of Week 9 of Football Friday Night.
Warriors was at this one and has the story.
Midway through the first, the Burns Bulldogs up 14 over the East Gaston Warriors. East Gaston would look to get back into this one and get back on track. Trent Sherrill connects with Austin Price to pick up a few. Later in the drive, Sherrill's going to look. He's going to roll out, take this one deep, but the ball is picked off, and that's an INT. Bulldogs come up with it. Then the Warriors would march downfield and finish off the drive. Ben Mooney connects with Ryan Thompson, but a missed point after, and the Bulldogs up 20-0. And Burns would keep the wheels spinning. Sherrill this time to Surratt with a two-handed grab. Later in the drive, facing a 3rd and 22, Sherrill hits Graham Warlick for a first down and then some. Same drive, this time facing a 4th down, but knocking on the door. Thompson would help extend the lead to 26. Crossing the goal line. Burns not done yet. The defense would force a fumble on the Warriors next series. Then the offense would cash in as Sherrill connects with Surratt deep downfield for a touchdown. With under 4 to go in the second half, the Bulldogs would go up 34. And the Bulldogs would make it happen tonight, snapping the 4-game win streak of the East Gaston Warriors. Taking this one 44-0. At the home of the Warriors, I'm Jordan Sawyers for Football Friday Night.
After starting 1-3, Lincolnton has won 3 in a row and is in 2nd place in the Catawba Valley Conference with a 3-1 record.
Yeah, the Wolves have a huge rivalry game next week versus Maiden, but tonight, you got to watch these. A potential trap game as they were at East Burke. Steve Onoswords was at this one and has the story from Connolly Springs.
Go to South, man. I think we don't have the package in just quite yet. So let's just keep on going with the show. We'll reload that package after we get done with these highlights. Let's go to South Meck at Olympic. Here comes the Trojans in this one, looking to go to 8-0. Things got off to a great start. Devin Walker takes the handoff, and he easily goes through the defensive line for the long run and gets the touchdown. 7-0 Olympic. Sabres with the ball now. Brock Reese Miller, with the pass, but it's going to be picked off by Jaron Tosi. A nice return here back into South Meck territory. Second quarter, Trojans have the ball and going into their bag of tricks. Elijah Holmes looking over to the sideline at the coaches. Don't fall for it, guys. Whoop. And they did. Tight end D'Angelo Hall runs the ball in for the touchdown. Olympic up 14-3, but this game was stopped at the start of the 4th quarter for a fight in the stands that spilled onto the field in the 4th quarter. Last check, Olympic led 21-16.
All right, South Stanley, their Rebel Bulls at North Stanley. Comments, North Stanley, when we picked this game up, already leading 35-6 in the 2nd quarter. South Stanley is forced to punt, and that is blocked. Jalen McCoy recovers, takes it into the end zone. It's 41-6. All right, Devion McFadder has a nice kickoff return here for the Rebels, and he scored on a kick return earlier. All right, North Stanley, Cameron Smith takes this punt to the house. The Comets up 48-6. North Stanley, here's a handoff to Juice Lilly. So that's your Juice. You got to take that one inside the 1. Here he goes down at the 1. He'll score again to make it 55-6. 3rd quarter, North Stanley, that's a toss again to Juice Lilly. He will break some tackles. Young man is down the sidelines. You think he would make it, but there's a flag on that play. Will get called back, a holding penalty. It doesn't matter. North Stanley rolls in this one 68-6.
Mallard Creek at Huff, and a surprise tonight up in Cornelius as them Creek boys pulled a shocker tonight. 1st quarter action, the Huskies going to be moving the ball right here into Mavericks territory. The short pass from Tad Hudson to Jacob Dawsey. And this game right here will set up a short field goal, and it's 3-0 Huff. Later on, Mavericks with the ball down 6-0, and Caleb Knight back to pass, but it's going to be intercepted by the Huskies. That would set them up in great field position, but all for nothing as the Huskies would end up punting. Another try for the Mavericks. The handoff here to Justin Watkins, and he takes it up the middle for a nice gain. The Mavericks would claw their way back As they scored 13 points in the third quarter, they would win a hard defensive battle, 13-9. A big win there as Mallard Creek takes over first place in the Queen City Conference.
All right, Lake Norman hosting Cox Mill, and the Wildcats looking to rebound from a disappointing loss last Friday to Hickory Ridge. All right, second half action now. Chargers up 31-7. That's Tyrell Cord. He'll take the handoff, fighting through the defense, and once he's gone, he is gone. That is the end zone touchdown. All right, Chargers taking a commanding 38-7 lead. Later on, the Wildcats looking to claw their way back into this game. Here's a pass picked off. That's Tyler Ziegler. He'll take it all the way back. Pass. There you go, young fella. The Chargers are in full control of this one. They're up 45-7, and that is the way it would stay as the Chargers defense crushed any comeback hopes. For the Wildcats late, the Chargers win this one 45-7.
All right, well, now it is time to head south of the border for a big rivalry game between Great Falls and Louisville. The Lions looking to stay undefeated in Region 3 1A play, and this had the potential to be a trap game as Louisville has a game against Whitmire next Friday for first place in the region. So again, it's Great Falls versus Louisville, rivalry night in Richburg. And how serious is this rivalry? The captains don't even shake hands. A little icy, but once the game started, all Lions. First play from scrimmage, Ian Grissom drops back, Jordan Strong wide open. That opens up the scoring. After a 3-and-out, Grissom goes up again, this time to Denari Garcia, just over the outstretched hands of the defender for another touchdown. But the Red Devils showed some heart on the ensuing drive. Look at the big man, Jalen Sanders. How would you like to have that coming at you all night long? Big rip for the big man there. And then 2 plays later, Rico McCullough at quarterback lets it fly. Demarion McMullen catches it for the score.
Nice pass.
And I guess this is his happy dance. Let's see what that, on his head. That's what that is.
It's something new, Cam. That's something new.
On his head. These kids these days, man. But all Lions from here on out. Grissom again deep to DeAdrian Robinson. Third score of the night. And one more in time, or in the first half. Grissom tossing another touchdown. 4 of them. Wow. Before we reach halftime, the Lions added 4 more scores in the second to move to 7-1 with a dominant 56-6 win tonight.
Time to take our final break here on the show. When we come back, the play of the week, and we put a wrap on week 9.
WBTV's First Alert Radar Network now has exclusive live X-band radar data. No one else in town has this kind of technology or this clear of a view. 10 times the resolution of the standard radars that are shooting into the Charlotte metro area. Our new radar is going to allow us to drill down into your neighborhood, your street, and give you as much advance notice as we can possibly give. I think this new radar fits right in with our First Alert promise, giving you advance notice of changing weather.
Where you get your local news matters.
The vote was unanimous.
Gaston, please telling me today.
Got a cold front on the way. Every night, WBTV News at 11 brings you the top stories of the day and what's ahead, helping you make sense of the headlines, giving you the insight and understanding you need to make the best decisions for your family. Our deep community connections and relationships with local leaders bring more to the stories that impact you. Join us for a better understanding. Watch WBTV News at 11.
She may not feel it yet, but she's got this. You've kept up with all the changes, the added safety measures. You've even read every email the school sent all summer long. Well, most of them. But you've also watched WBTV News this morning to stay on top of it all. And you got her here. And now, she sees it. Thanks for always being on her side and for trusting us to be on yours.
All right, play of the week comes from Catholic at the Butler. Now here's Jake Larson from Catholic with catching that in double coverage. Folks,
That's why
he's going to Notre Dame. Take another look at this. Here's the pass, and then here's the catch. That's just coordination. I mean, you can't teach that. You either got it or you don't.
I mean, shout out that quarterback threading the needle there, too. Put it right between those 2 defenders.
great, absolutely great play, great catch. But all for naught, as Catholic took a 19-0 lead, Butler scored 20 points in the fourth quarter to come back and win. We'll talk more about Butler and their situation in the Southwestern 4A in a few minutes, but absolutely great catch there by Jack Larson. Some scores from tonight. Up in Concord tonight, Northwest Cabarrus beat Concord 26-22. The Trojans claim a share of the South Piedmont 3A Conference title. They can win it outright in 2 weeks. They're off next week, but in 2 weeks, they host Central Cabarrus, so they control their own destiny when it comes to winning the South Piedmont 3A. And they battle for first in the Southern Carolina Conference. Weddington got an easy dub over Sun Valley. The Warriors finish up the regular season with Cumberson, and then the big rivalry game against Marvin Ridge, so it's not over yet, but Weddington also controls their destiny when it comes to winning the conference championship. And south of the border, Chester beat Emerald tonight to stay undefeated in Region 4 3A play. They host Clinton next Friday, undefeated Clinton next Friday night. And with the win, the Cyclones would win the region title. Next Friday's game is their last game of the season. So, hey, Chester wins next week. They get their conference title and a high seed when it comes to the playoffs. So let's just wrap up week 9 real quickly. Once again, just wanted to talk about Mallard Creek. I had to leave. I left the Catholic game at 19-0. And as I rolled out the gate, Butler returned the kickoff for a touchdown, and I just had the feeling in the pit of my stomach. I was like, they about to come back. And sure enough, I got back and checked Twitter.
Yep.
Tip touchdown. Butler's ahead 20-19. Then Catholic fumbles the kickoff return. And I was like, yeah.
You know what's funny is had you stayed, there would have been no more touchdowns the rest of the day. It's like Schrodinger's cat. If you stay, nothing's going to happen. But when you leave, you miss all the good touchdowns.
This was the thing about that game. Catholic went up. They were up 12-0 at the half. They dominated the first half. Yeah. They probably should have had a bigger lead than that. And as it was just 12-0, I was like, this is just too close. It shouldn't be this close because Catholic they did what they wanted to do in the first half. Offensively, they had it going. And Butler just kind of hung around. And that's all you have to do sometimes is you hang around in these games and then you get one spark, the kickoff return for a touchdown. You start to build momentum and the other team is like, uh-oh, how do we stop this? And sometimes it happens, and it happened tonight to Catholic. So they got one from Independence.
I was going to say the exact same thing.
Now Butler gets one from them, but it's not over yet. Butler's in first place by themselves, but Butler still has to play Independence in the final week of the regular season, and that's a rivalry game. It used to be the game in the city, 10, 12 years ago. It was the game in the city. Now, with Independence coming back up and Butler still good, it's going to be a great game the final week of the regular season. Also tonight, Mallard Creek, we just saw the highlights. They beat Huff. Mallard Creek is in first place in the Queen City Conference right now by themselves. Not Chambers, not Huff, Mallard Creek. So them Creek boys, they back. I live near the creek, so I can do that. I hear them practicing. I hear the band and all that stuff right down the road. But when Mallard Creek started, I believe it was 1-2. 3 of their first 4 games were against defending state champs. Buford in Georgia, South Point Rock Hill, and Gaffney. Coach Tinsley knew what he was doing. He got his team ready. He played the toughest of tough competition. Now they're in conference play, and everybody's looking up. It's like Mallard Creek is in first place. Don't be surprised. They test themselves early. They got better, and this is the result. So once again, much like Butler, not over yet. You got one from Huff. Huff got one from Chambers. Now Mallard Creek has to get one from Chambers to win it outright, or it's going to be a 3-way tie. And then if it's a 3-way tie, then the state takes over, and they decide with the RPI of who's going to get the number 1 seed and all that good stuff. You don't want the 3-way tie, so Butler, Mallard Creek and Butler win. You don't have to worry about the 3-way tie. And also, another game that we, Providence Day, Christian, Providence Day up 20-0. Christian comes back, gets a last-second field goal from 47 yards. It's like in high school. Yes, nailed it. Wins the game at the buzzer. So a lot of great football tonight.
A lot of great football.
Yeah, and when I was looking at the scores, these close games, this is that middle end of the year type. So the good games.
It's the time. It's this time of the year. The best take on the best. Normally they backload the schedule, or the better games happen at the end. So now we're starting to get the better games. the best versus the best as they get ready for the playoffs. And then when the playoffs happen, it's go time then. So, now is the time we're starting to figure some things out. That championship puzzle piece, we're starting to figure it out. Teams are starting to rise to the top, and this is the best time of the year. Best time of the year.
we got the teams that are in the driver's seat at this point. We know who, at this point, whoever takes care of business will get it done. And now we know which teams are really going to have to be on their A game these last 2 weeks because, again, nothing is done yet. We got so many teams that nobody's sealed anything at this point. Nobody's clinched. These last 2 games are so important because even if teams are out of it, they still have a chance to play that spoiler, which as a high school kid, that's all you want to do is, prevent your rival from going to the playoff or prevent them from winning the conference championship. That's what you're playing for at this point.
A lot of seniors right now, speaking from experience, you don't want to give this up. So for those teams that, it doesn't look like the playoffs are going to happen, they're going to put it on the line. They're going to want to beat somebody at the end and say, hey, I hate your loss, but I really don't hate it because we wanted to beat you. And, some seniors, they're getting to a point where they're realizing they might not ever play a football game again, a high school football game ever again, because some of them are not going to college. Yep. And this might be it. So, you're going to get everybody's best still, because a lot of young men are realizing that it's almost over. The clock's almost up. Time to get to real life in college and things of that nature. But, you always want to get a job. Now, but this is that best time of the year because you're still going to get the best of the best out of every team. No matter if they're the underdog, they're still going to play you because the finality of it all. It's almost basketball season, but for some, they're going to be playing some December football for some state championships. Anything else y'all got for next week?
Just heart completely breaks for Bunker Hill. I can't even imagine. That's the closest they've been in the last 20 years, I want to say. I did a little brief history back to 2004. They've never been within 10, 12 points of Maiden. So to be that close, to lose it in the last second, you had a 32-year losing drought on the line. You could just see it on the kids' faces. They were completely heartbroken after that one, and it's hard not to feel for them when you were that close to being the team that can break that streak.
Absolutely, but Bunker Hill's been knocking on the door.
They've been knocking on the door.
You keep knocking on the door. Mm-hmm. Eventually, you will kick it in. And Butler Bunker Hill, they've had some great seasons these last 5 years or so. And for years, they were a doormat. They were the team that everybody just beat up. Yep. But Bunker Hill is playing some good football right now, and they're knocking on the door. You just keep knocking. Yep. Just keep getting there. You got to put yourself in a position, and eventually that door is going to fall.
Shouts to Coach Albert Reed. He's got that team going in the right direction. Just his second year at Bunker Hill, so definitely bright things ahead. But just tonight, we try not to cheer on the sidelines and be impartial as we're covering these teams, but I couldn't help but just be completely heartbroken for that team.
But sometimes these losses are good for you because it prepares you for the next time, and you get in those situations. You said they could have ran out the clock. Maybe they learned tonight. Next time they can run out the clock.
They can finish it next time.
And they can finish the deal. So, it's not the end of the world. They're going to have a good season in the playoffs because they've had a great season. Provided that they win the final game.
Exactly, yeah.
They're going to have a good seed, and who knows, they may see Maiden again. So nothing is done. It's just tonight. They were the better team tonight. Keep knocking on the door. The door will fall. Bunker Hill, the door will fall. Eventually. That's it for Football Friday Night, Week 9. We'll see you next week for Week 10 as we continue to crown some conference champs. Have a good weekend. Have a good college football Saturday. Carolina Panthers, can y'all win a game? You done got the coach fired. Can y'all win a game? They're going out to the LA. Beat the Rams. Maybe.